Kuzampo, welcome to Bhutan e-learning program. I'm Topge. This is a science lesson for Key Stage 3, classes 7 and 8. In today's session, we are going to look at a very important topic related to our body. So therefore, it is very important that all of us attend this session thoroughly till the end of the session so that we will be able to better understand the concept that we will be discussing through this session. In this session today, we will be discussing about the cell. At the end of the session, all of us and each one of you are expected to achieve the three objectives. Number one, you should be able to define what is a cell. Number two, you should be able to state different parts or name different parts of the cell. And number three, differentiate between plant and animal cell. Let us now look at some sets of examples in order to better understand the concept of cell. A seed germinating into seedling and then seedling growing up into a big plant. But on the other hand, did you notice such changes in a stone? And on the other side, you might have also seen a hen reproducing. But did you see a chair reproducing? You may have noticed a dog moving from one place to the other, but did you notice a table moving? So what does these two sets of example indicate? If you are to categorize these two sets of examples, what broad topic would you give? I'm sure you would say that one set of example, that is the seedling, the hen and the dog, falls in the category of living things, while on the other side, stone, chair and table is falling in non-living category. But what distinguishes these two sets of example? You find that non-living things do not grow, do not reproduce and do not move, while on the other side you find that the living things can grow, reproduce and move. So what could be the reason? What makes them different? Okay, the cell makes them different. So if you look at the chalk and break it down, you will find that there are small pieces that makes up the larger piece of the chalk. In the similar manner, if you look into the living things, deep down there are smaller structures which we call it as cell. But what is a cell? I'm sure you might have heard the statement such as cell is the building block of life. You may have also heard some people saying that cell is the structural unit of life, while others might have said that cell is the functional unit of life. But it all means almost similar. Broadly, people put it as cell is the structural and functional unit of life. But what does that statement mean? What do you understand from this statement? Can you think for a while? Let us take an analogy of building a wall using the bricks so that you will be able to understand how cell stand as a structural unit. While building the wall, you may have seen the lever piling up the bricks one after another, as you can see here, to build the wall. So when the number of bricks in the wall are increased, the size of the wall increases. In the same manner, in the body of living organisms, which includes both plant and animal, you will find that the number of cells are multiplying. Like when the number of bricks are increasing in the wall, the size of the wall increases. In the same manner, when the number of cells in the living organism increases, the size of the living organism increases, thereby serving as a unit for building up. So that is why we say cell is the structural unit. On the other hand, the cell is also considered as the functional unit of life or living organisms. Now you might be wondering what could be the meaning of that statement. If you keep your hand here and feel, you will find your heart pumping. Similarly, when you look around, you notice that your eyes are blinking. When we chew the food, our mouth is moving. In the same manner, when we move from one place to other, our legs will have to move. In the same manner, different parts of our body does different kind of work. But all this work is happening under the influence of cell. The pumping of heart is there because the cells in the heart is working. That is why the heart is able to pump the blood. So in that way, cells serve as the functional unit of life. So with this example, I'm sure you would have understood the statement, cell is the structural and functional unit of life. But what makes up the cell? Of course, there are different components that are found in the cell about which you will be studying in higher classes. But at this level, you have to understand that there are three basic components of cell which is found both in plant as well as in animal cell. The three basic components, as you can see here, are the nucleus, the cytoplasm, and cell membrane. These three are named as the basic component of a cell. Now within this structure, you will find different structures located inside. If we dissect the body of a human being, what would you find inside? I'm sure some might say that you will find blood. Some might say you will find bones. That's also true. But if we have to compare human body with that of cell, if you dissect the body of a human being, you will find lungs, you will find stomach, you will also find the heart, and the list goes on. These smaller part in the human body or in the animal is called as organs. In the same manner, if you happen to dissect the cell, or if you happen to observe the cell under microscope, you will find small organ-like structure which is found within the cell membrane. So each smaller structure found inside the cell membrane, we call it as the cell organelle. So the cell organelle, by definition, is the organ-like structure which is found inside the cell membrane. There are series of cell organelles found both in plant as well as in animal cells. Let us now look at what are some of the structures that we can find inside the cell. Through this session, we will also try to compare between what are the structures that we find in plant cell as well as in the animal cell. Let us first look at the animal cell. So in the animal cell, the outermost layer, as you can see here, is the cell membrane. Within the cell membrane, you will find a jelly-like structure which is called as cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, there are many organ-like structure which we have already defined as cell organelle. So to name a few cell organelles, as you can see here, one of the cell organelles found in animal cell is the mitochondria. And this we call it as endoplasmic reticulum. Then you also have the vacuole. You could also see the Golgi bodies. Besides that, almost at the center of cytoplasm, you find a ball-like structure which is called as a nucleus. Within the nucleus, you find nucleoplasm and another small ball-like structure called as nucleolus. Then the animal cell also have another distinguishing feature which is not there in the plant cell, that is centrosome, as you can see here. Let us now look at the plant cell. Unlike in the animal cell, plant cell has cell wall as the outermost layer. After that, like in the animal cell, within the cell wall, you will find the cell membrane, and inside the cell membrane, you will find almost all these cell organelles that are found in the animal cell except centrosome. But besides that, the plant cell also has plastid. But at this level, you could understand plastid as a pigment which assists or which helps the plant in photosynthesis. But this pigment or this organelle is not found in the animal cell. That is the reason why animals cannot photosynthesize their own food or prepare their own food. Besides that, you will find that the vacuole, as you can see here, is larger in the plant cell than in animal cell. So these are some of the cell organelles which you find in animal cell as well as in plant cell. Considering the scope of the discussion at this level, let us have a look at the characteristic features of some cell organelles and the functions of those cell organelles that we will be discussing here. Let us first look at the cell wall. Cell wall, as we have discussed already, is the outermost layer found in the plant cell, but it is not there in the animal cell. So it is a rigid structure which is non-living layer made up of a component or a substance called as cellulose. So that is the character. But what help does it provide to the cell? So there are two functions. Number one, it provides shape and rigidity to the cell, and then it also protects the internal structure of the plant cell. Then the next cell organelle or the part of the cell that we will be discussing about is the cell membrane. Cell membrane is the outermost layer in animal cell, but it is found inner or next to the cell wall in plant cell. Cell membrane is a living matter which is semi-permeable in nature. Semi-permeable refers to not allowing all the substances to get in or get out if they try to do so, because the cell cannot take in all the substances or let all the substances to go out, and that control is done by the cell membrane because it is semi-permeable in nature. So based on the description, it has two functions. One is it regulates the entry of substance, and it also maintains the shape of the cell. Let us now look at the third cell organelle, nucleus. Nucleus can be to some extent compared with the brain in our body. So with that statement, I'm sure you might have understood what is the characteristic of nucleus or what is the function of nucleus. So by character, nucleus is almost spherical or oval-like structure which is found almost at the center of plant cell or towards periphery in animal cell. But the location should not matter much. But what does nucleus do? Why is it important? Of all the cell organelles, nucleus plays a very important role in the survival of the cell. It has two functions. One, it helps in regulation, and another one, it helps in coordination of the activity of the cell. So therefore, if you happen to remove the nucleus from the cell will die. In that way, the nucleus is very important. Now, let us look at the fourth cell organelle. The fourth cell organelle is also very important. That is the mitochondria. As you can see here, the structure of mitochondria. It is a oval double-sacked structure. It is spherical, oval, and with double membrane. So this cell organelle is very important because in this cell organelle, the cell is able to convert the food into the form of energy that can be used by the cell. The cell uses energy from a form called as ATP. ATP. You may find out what is the full form of ATP as your extended activity. But This compound, ATP, is energy-rich compound which is produced in the mitochondria of a cell through a process called respiration, but the detail of this process you will learn in higher classes. Then the fifth cell organelle we will talk about is the endoplasmic reticulum. As you can see here, the endoplasmic reticulum is a irregular network which connects the plasma membrane and nuclear membrane. There are two functions for endoplasmic reticulum. One, it acts as supporting framework for the cell. Now when we say supporting framework, if you place your hand here and feel, you will find your ribs supporting your body. In the same manner, the endoplasmic reticulum does the supporting work. Further, it also acts as pathway or the path through which materials can travel in the cell. So these are the two functions of endoplasmic reticulum, and these are the 5 cell organelles that we have discussed in this session at this level, but you may explore on remaining cell organelles as your extended activity. Now, having looked at plant cell and animal cell, the features of both plant and animal cell, let us try to find out if plant cells and animal cells would look same, or if they would have the same features, or if they would have a different feature. Now if you look here, you can find a cartoon who says that I would like to study the plant cell and animal cell, but what difference would be there? Can you guess for a while? Because we have already discussed. So you may have realized that there are some differences between plant and animal cell. For instance, plant cell has cell wall while the animal cells do not have the cell wall. In the same manner, plant cell has plastid, the animal cells do not have plastid. That is why the animals cannot prepare their own food. Then in the plant cell they do not have centrosome, but the animal cell has centrosome. So you may also find the role of centrosome as your homework. Then in the plant cell the vacuoles are large, but in the animal cell vacuoles are smaller when compared with the plant cell. So these are some of the differences between plant and animal cell which you are expected to know. So with this, we come to the end of discussion about the plant and animal cell. As I told you in the beginning that discussion about cell is very important, and you might be wondering how it is important. Now let us look at how cell plays a very important role in making of an organism. Cells are very small unit, but what do these cells do? Those of the cells after division which does the same work or similar work, they group together to form a structure called as tissue, as you can see here. And these tissues which does the similar work, they group together to form what we call it as organs. Now these are quite complex, but those of the organs which does the similar work, they join together, work together to form a system called as organ system. Now in order to better understand how it is happening, let us take an example of a digestive system which is very familiar with you. In the digestive system you have a mouth, then the food pipe esophagus which runs down and connects to stomach, then you have small intestine, large intestine ending with the anus. In this, mouth is one organ, esophagus is another organ, stomach is another. In the same manner, small and large intestine are different organs. But these organs does the same work, that is why they work together as a digestive system. In the same manner, at the microscopic level, the cells which does the same work, they collaborate together to form the tissues, and tissues which does the same work collaborate together to form the organ, as you have seen organ forming the organ system. And these organ systems, when joined together and work together, forms the organism. With this, we come to the end of discussion about cell. Before we wind up the session today, let us quickly reflect back to what are some of the things that we have discussed through this session. Number one, we have looked at the definition of cell, and we said that cell is the structural and functional unit of life. And I'm sure by now you may have understood what it means structural and what it means functional unit of an organism. The number two, we have also looked at the basic parts of cell organelle, wherein we said that the three basic components of cells are: number one, cell membrane; number two, cytoplasm; number three, nucleus. After that, we talked about 5 cell organelles, their characteristics, and the functions, or how they contribute in the survival of a cell. Finally, we have looked at how cell contributes in building up an organism through the formation of tissue, organ, and organ system, thereafter the organism. With this, we come to the end of the discussion, but in order to understand the concept, I have a few questions as your extended activity. Question number one: what would happen if there is no cell? So you will think of the situation based on the discussion that we have had and then write the answer. Number two, what would happen if there was plastic in you and my cells, or in the cell of animals? What would be the situation? So these are the two important questions on which you will work. You may discuss the answer with your subject teachers and submit to them through appropriate means. Finally, I would like to thank you for attending this session. I look forward to having you in my next session. Until then, stay safe, take care. Thank you.